Hey yo, what's going on guys? It's your boy Scatino, aka Scat, and today we're going to be looking at Street Fighter 3 Third Strike Online Edition. Just been released today in the UK for the Xbox Live Arcade and on the PlayStation Network. Now, I've got to admit, I've been hyped for this game since it was announced back at, I think it was Comic Con 2010. So it's had a good about a year and a half development time, well, since it actually got announced up until release. So yeah, I've been very excited about it. So Third Strike come out, I think it was about 12 years ago to arcades, and it was ported to the Dreamcast and that kind of stuff, but the game didn't really take off from what I remember, or from what I've read and everything, because the game was a lot more technical than the other games in the series, and like they really switched it up with like the characters. They introduced a load of characters that were pretty much unfamiliar with the series. I mean, they kept like the likes of Ken, Ryu, and Chun-Li and Akuma, but then they introduced a load of new characters like Dudley, Ibuka, Makoto, those kind of people. But as the years went on, people really started to begin to pay attention to Third Strike, especially in the competitive arena and tournament settings and that kind of stuff. And for those of you in the know, I'm sure you all remember the infamous Evo 2004 moment 37, where Daigo was able to parry the whole of Justin Wong's super with Chun-Li. Now that is like I say, that is infamous now, and it's pretty much synonymous with Third Strike. It's probably one of the greatest moments in video game history. That was probably captured in competitive gaming. So anyway, getting back to this game, it is a re-release. It's not a full HD port. I mean, there are HD elements to the game, but they couldn't remake this game in HD because, like I say, it is so technical, and there are so many frames that had been drawn back then. I mean, we're talking probably thousands of frames per character. If they were to redraw all that in HD and pretty much get it looking like Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix, then it probably would have took a good few years development time for this game to actually finally make it out the door. So instead of that, they've pretty much kept the original backgrounds and that, but they've put filters into the game, graphical filters, just to make the game look a bit better. Like the characters get a bit more, well, they look a bit more cleaner, the edges are a bit more smoother. But it's up to you to change those graphical settings, as you wish. You can do that from the options menu. But that's like the basic gameplay. When you're actually in a game, that's how the game will look. It depends on the graphical filters. But as you can see from like this section, the menus have all been redone in HD. The actual character select screen, like the character models in there, all the original drawings have been rescanned into the game in HD, so they look a lot more vibrant, look a lot more crisp, and it just looks better than menus. The menu music has also been remixed, and there's been a new soundtrack placed over that. So they seem to have really gone to town with this release from what I've been watching and playing and seeing of the game. The new modes, you've got like trial modes and challenges. Obviously the online is using GGPO network. Is it GGPO, not GPPO? Yeah, GGPO network code. So what that basically is, from what I know, because I'm not that technically minded, it's using I just realised that wasn't even me parrying all that super, all those moves then. Yeah, so GGPO netcode, what that basically means is the game is able to hide frames of animation that you don't necessarily see in order to cut out the lag of the game, whilst playing online. So what that tries to do is pretty much give you a flawless online experience. It's where there would be like lag in the game, but the lag is masked, so you don't actually notice it, and that kind of stuff. It's quite complicated to actually explain, but what it is, it's to make the online experience a lot better. And apparently, fighting game fans have been asking for this to be added to fighting games for years now, and Capcom have finally done it with this release, which is really good. So like I say, there's a load of different modes. Other than the online, you have trials, you have the training mode, you know, that's like by default now. But the one that you're actually seeing now is a parry, the parry trials, where, you know, you're just learning how to parry moves basically. Now the parry system is quite controversial. People either love it or they hate it basically. I've heard a few people saying the parry system is broken because if you're able to parry a move, you don't take damage like you would do block. I mean, if you block a move, you then take chip damage, but parrying, you take no damage at all. And if you're able to parry a move up close to the opponent who's like threw it out, then it gives you that split second chance to, you know, counter attack them basically, and you know, get them locked into some super ass combo or something like that. Now what you're seeing here on the screen right now is the infamous Evo Moment 37 with Chun-Li's super, and you're supposed to parry her whole super with Ken. Now this shit is hard for me to do. I mean, I am pretty much a newcomer to Third Strike anyway. I mean, I played bits and bobs of it down the years, but I've not played it competitively, and I've not played it, you know, enough to really know the ins and outs of the parry system and all that. But that's like I was telling you, this moment here where Daigo was able to parry this whole super perfect, and then he was, you know, able to pull out his own super to go and win that round. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that they put in here. You know, Capcom really did go to town with this release, it seems. I mean, they didn't skimp on it. And I'm just going to show you something else right now that's going to be coming up in the arcade mode.
Into the heat of battle, go for it.
Yeah, so with arcade mode, like I say, you've got all these different graphical filters and everything, but you also get the chance to actually either play the game with this setting where, you know, it's not a full screen, or you can change it to like a widescreen setting where the image is like stretched and all that kind of stuff. But you know, playing it like this is like playing it like the original. You're also able to play it in a sort of arcade cabinet style where it looks like it's got the curvature of an arcade screen, and you can also put like scan lines onto it and everything, so it gives you that kind of authentic feel. But what I really like about this is, whilst you're playing, as you can see in you know, now you've got more like space to do things with. Like to the left side of the screen, you've got your challenges up here. Now these challenges can be completed like within the arcade mode and online and everything, so it's always like you're gaining something, you're always working towards something. So like you're able to earn points. So one of the challenges is like, I think it's called projectile spammer, and one of the challenges is throw out 25 projectiles. There it is. Just says it there, projectile spammer. Throw 10 projectiles, and then if you're able to achieve that challenge, if you're able to complete it, you're awarded points and that kind of stuff. And those points allow you to then go into the museum or whatever it is it's called, and you're able to like unlock different artwork, music, concept art and all that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool. You know, it's good to see that Capcom have gone that extra mile with this release. So yeah, it's good to see that. And as I said near enough the beginning, you know, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, you know, it's pretty much it's known to be probably the most technical out of all the Street Fighters. I mean, you really need to know your stuff with this game in order to master it, basically, in order to succeed. And also, there's a lot of talk where, you know, there's no like shortcuts with the inputs on this game. Whereas in like take Street Fighter 4 for example, you could do a bit of a shortcut on the joystick to throw out, say, like a Dragon Punch. You wouldn't necessarily have to put in the actual motion to throw out that Dragon Punch. You could do a similar motion, but in a more shortcut way, which then allows you to throw out that Dragon Punch a lot quicker. But this game apparently doesn't seem to have that. You know, if you don't put in those motions correctly and precisely, then you're not going to be able to throw out that kind of move. You're not going to be able to throw out the move that you're actually wanting to do. So it is very technical in that aspect. I mean, but for someone like me, you know, I don't really get into the really technical side of these fighting games. I mean, I enjoy them, but I'm by no means the biggest fighting game fan out there. I mean, you get these expert people who constantly play the game, and they're able to count frames and know exactly when to throw out a punch or a projectile or anything like that, because like for some crazy ass reason they're able to count frames and shit and know exactly when to do these kind of things, where I'm not that kind of player, and I've never gone hard like that with Street Fighter or any other kind of video game. I mean, me personally, I play these games for fun. I don't play them to be competitive, and I'd never probably go to a fighting game tournament because I just don't play the game like that. I haven't really got the patience, the perseverance, and the discipline to spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours in the lab training with a character to learn the ins and outs of them. But you know, some people do, and you know, good on those people, man, because they're the ones who you'll come face to face with online and they'll beat your ass, and they're the kind of people who you'll see play it and you'll think, shit, I wish I could do that kind of move. You know, I wish I could throw out that combo, and you know, and watch people do it flawlessly, like with so little effort. And it's those kind of things that you wish you could do. You know, and that's like the beauty of fighting games, and I think especially the beauty of Third Strike. I think for me, I've watched quite a few combo videos now, and some of the combos I've seen people do, they're absolutely jaw-dropping, and you just know that I could never do that in a million years without going into the lab like for hours and hours every single day. You know, and like playing the game religiously like that. You know, it's craziness. So I think right now we're gonna jump into an online match, and we're gonna see what the online is like. So I'll just adjust this screen a bit because it looks a bit cut off. Oh, and I am playing this game on 360, by the way. A couple of things I've been reading up about today. The game got released in the UK on 360 today, and in the US today on 360. It come out on the PSN today in the UK, but it come out on the PSN yesterday in the US. But according to what I've been reading on the PS3 version, there is quite a lot of lag even when playing offline, which is kind of crazy. It's something that I'll be checking out later on when I check out the PS3 version, because I've downloaded both, so I'll be able to check that out. And on 360, I've heard that people are experiencing difficulties actually getting into matches online. As you've just seen then, I got into one no problem. But we're going to see how this one actually works out, and actually check out this netcode and actually what it's like. And apparently it actually works off a ping basis. You know, they do it off a ping, so if your ping is anything more than, I think it's like 80 ms, then it's like it's going to be quite laggy. It's not going to be the smoothest. I mean, this game in particular now, I mean, you'll be able to see it. This is not the smoothest game, and you know it's quite jarring with how it's doing. I mean, it looks like it, and probably this is one of the letdowns to the online is that you can't seem to like put in an option for where you want the game to search, like a region search, you know, whereas on Street Fighter 4 you're able to put in a region search and only have it put you up against players from your region. So if I'm playing Street Fighter online, if I'm just playing by myself online, then I'll only ask the game to look for players within the UK, instead of, you know, so that is able to minimise the lag basically, because you know, the connection and that the speed hasn't got that far to travel. But on this game it doesn't seem to have that, which is a feature that I think it really should have had. You know, because I'd rather play with people from the UK to minimise that lag than playing with people from, you know, America or in Japan or somewhere like that, where, you know, the internet connections are not necessarily going to be that great with each other. I mean, because you don't know when you're playing if someone's using a wired connection or if somebody's using wireless. I'm using a wired connection at the moment, but I've not got the best internet connection in the world. The area that I live in now doesn't get really great speed, so that's always a problem for me when I'm playing against people in America, and especially in a fighting game where you really need to be on the ball with it and you know, have that lag really minimized. But you know, you just have to persevere with it, and hopefully you'll get a good game. Oh, and one last thing, there is YouTube support with this game, so if you don't own a PVR, on the PS3 version, the feature's already there. You are able to record your matches and then upload them straight to YouTube. The feature's not available on the 360 version as of yet, but apparently it's coming in a free update in a few days. So like I say, for those of you who don't own PVRs or capture cards or anything like that, you're still able to upload your videos to YouTube. So that's a feature we've all been asking for years now. So that's it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and rate, comment, subscribe. Peace.